Hi guys, I'm the Dutch Movie Guy, and today I'm reviewing Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 11, Visions and Voices. Okay, this is the last time I will do this intro bit that I do with every review. After this, I don't really feel like doing it anymore because I think my point is clear and people should just not bitch about spoilers anymore. Because there are two things that you should know if this is the first time you're watching any of my reviews. One, I reviewed all the episodes so far in Rebel Season 3. I also reviewed Rebel Season 1 and 2. All are up on my channel in a playlist in chronological order among all my other Star Wars reviews. So if you've missed any, you should be able to find it pretty easily. And yeah, you should probably know what I think about those going into this one. And I have to say, I spoil the episode. I just assume you've seen the episode just like I have. Because otherwise it's going to be hard to talk about this episode. So if you've not seen Visions and Voices, I recommend see it and then come back for my review later. Now before I go into my review, I have to say just before the very end of my review, just before I say click right here, I have a special announcement. So stay tuned until the very end of my review for that. Anyway, I always begin with a brief synopsis of the episode. The episode starts off with my favorite character, Hera, giving a speech about the mission they have to go on, and Ezra's not really paying attention to Hera. Ezra, I'll pay attention to Hera for you, okay? Let's just agree with that. But the reason that Ezra's not paying attention is because he sees Maul everywhere, and it's a little weird, and he almost kills a rebel because he thinks the rebel is Maul. And then at one point they find Maul, and Maul says to them, okay, Ezra has to go with me on a mission. They go to Dathomir. For me, that's the first time I've seen Dathomir since the Clone Wars. And on Dathomir, they have to do something, and they see Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine, and oh my god, this episode was amazing! This was, by far, the best episode of this entire season so far, and the best episode since Twilight of the Apprentice. This episode is the reason I watch this show. I mean, these kinds of episodes, like last week's episode and this episode, make me completely forget about the bullshit episodes like the Winkathu Job and Iron Squadron, which were like, yeah, they were kind of enjoyable, but they were really like filler, and I don't care, and I want this episode. Visions and Voices was fantastic. I love this episode, best of the season, as I said. Now, I always start off with the good things first, and while I do have some complaints, probably a little bit more than some other great episodes, the good things in this episode, my god, were so good. Were better than all the good things in the season so far, I think, except for maybe Hera. And let's just start off with the good things about this episode. First off, Ezra is really going dark. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time, and this episode really reaffirms that he is going to the dark side. He almost kills a rebel because he thinks it's Maul. It's like, yeah, at one point he definitely is going to kill someone and he's going to go dark. Especially because after this episode, Ezra had a lot of bad decisions. We had the episode where he trusted Hondo. Bad decision. Didn't go very well. In this episode, he trusted Maul. Bad decision. Didn't go very well. Every time the Ghost Crew is like, okay, Ezra, you make a decision this time. It goes to shit. And at one point, I think that the Ghost Crew is going to say, Ezra, just keep in the background, just help us out, but you're not going to make any decisions because every time you do that, it's going to go wrong. And in the long game, I think that Ezra will be pissed by that. It's like, why are you holding me back? So at one point, he's going to say, okay, fuck you guys, I'm going to the dark side. At least that's what my theory is. We'll have to wait and see, but that is what I think is going to happen. And that is why I like Ezra as a character. He is going to go dark, and something's going to go down, but we'll have to pay off for that, I don't know when. Now, I was really happy to see the Bendu return at first, but then I realized he was only in it for like 2 seconds, because the real reason he's in it, and the real reason why Ezra and Canon are there, is because of Maul. Maul is back! Maul is back! I mean, Maul, I cannot believe how much I like this character right now. In The Phantom Menace, I hated him. And then they brought him back in Clone Wars, and I was not really okay with the fact that they brought him back, but it was already an improvement because they gave him a character. By now, Maul is such a great character that I'm like, Maul! Shit's going to go down, you just know it is, and it's awesome. And Maul takes Ezra to Dathomir. Dathomir is a planet that I've not seen since the Clone Wars. I have not read the Son of Dathomir comic, so I don't know if it appears in that. I assume it does, but I've not read it, so I don't know. And I have also not gotten to a part in Dark Disciple yet where they go to Dathomir, if that happened. So this really was like the first time since the Clone Wars TV series that Dathomir is in Star Wars again, and it was great. Everything just going on Dathomir, like when Maul and Ezra drink the thing to make sure they see Obi-Wan, everything just was perfect. They set up Kanan and Sabine against Maul and Ezra. Oh my god! Oh my god, that was awesome! Ezra against Sabine. Sabine with the Darksaber. Oh my god! I loved this episode. I could not believe how great this episode was, that they gave us the things that we saw. It was awesome. I really wonder though where Sabine and the Darksaber story is going, because the Darksaber is used to kill Jedi or something. So who is Sabine going to kill with that? Because at the end she picks it up and she takes it with her, and something's going to happen, and I cannot wait to see that payoff. Another thing that I noticed in this episode, which I just liked about this episode and some previous episodes, the base that they found at the end of last season, you really see that base like developing into an actual rebel base, and you actually see the operations going on there, and it's just really cool to see the rebellion growing from where they were in season 1, this crew of the Ghost, to where they are now, that Hera really is the leader of it all. It's just really cool to see that grow, because we are 2 years away from the events in the original Star Wars, which means we're also less than 2 years away from the events in Rogue One, and it will be really cool for me to see Rogue One next week and just see everything tied together. Now, I do have some complaints, and note that I absolutely love this episode, but I do have some complaints and some concerns. I'm not really sure about some things in this episode. One thing is that initially when I saw this episode, I was thinking someone could die. Either Sabine, Ezra, Kanan, I don't know, someone. After thinking about it, the only one who could have died, which would have made a little bit of sense for the story, would be Kanan. In the end, I am glad they didn't though, but I was kind of a bit disappointed that they didn't kill anyone off, because by now you can do that. I hope that before the end of the season someone dies. Could be a Zeb, a Sabine, a Kanan, probably not Ezra, and hopefully unlikely Hera though, but we'll have to wait and see for that. Now, another thing that I'm worried about is Obi-Wan Kenobi. They called him Obi-Wan Kenobi in this episode. I think if they find Obi-Wan, that they will call him that. And according to Obi-Wan, that is a name he hasn't heard in a long time. A long time. Which means, if they fuck that up, yeah, no, that would be the biggest mistake that they could possibly make with the show. But I trust the creators of the show enough to not make that mistake. But it is a concern I have, because that would really, really just mess up that line that Obi-Wan says. And it's like, do not mess up the originals. Just don't. We've had enough in Star Wars already that messes with the originals, messes with things in the originals that you just don't want to mess with. This is one of those things. You don't want to mess with that line that Obi-Wan gives. So please, don't call him Obi-Wan. Now, another thing that I'm, a little not sure of is, why was the Darksaber on Dathomir? I have seen Clone Wars a couple of times, like the entirety of the show. And even though I've seen it a couple of times, I don't remember everything. So I don't remember if the Darksaber was ever brought to Dathomir in that. If not, could have happened in Dark Disciple or Son of Dathomir, which I haven't read yet, so I don't know if it happened there. If it didn't happen anywhere, and if there was no explanation for it, for the Darksaber to be on Dathomir, then I have the idea it's a little bit shoehorned in just to give Sabine the Darksaber. That's how I felt about it. Like, why is the Darksaber there? I really was wondering, like, why is it there? And if it's there just because it's there, that's a little lazy writing, a little bit shoehorning. But I cannot wait to see what Sabine does with it, though. Don't get me wrong. And the last thing I'll say about the episode, and this is something I've said before about great episodes, these episodes are so short. I cannot believe that this episode was over after 22 minutes. When it was over, I was like, more! Give me more Rebels, please! Because this episode was so good. And I've had it before with great Rebels episodes that when they end, I was like, oh, I want more of this. But I'm already glad that we are getting a great Star Wars show. So I can't really complain too much, but it's something like, I want more of this. Speaking of more, we'll have to wait a bit. January, 4 weeks. Jesus, it's going to be long wait. But of course, in the meantime, we have Rogue One, which I probably will have seen over 10 times already by the time I have my next Rebels episode review. Which means, from the next episode of Rebels on, when I do my reviews, no spoiler warning. So, I assume you've seen Rogue One by then. If you've not, I really wonder what is wrong with you. Like, Rogue One is releasing next week. I assume you are going to see it either the next week or the week after, or just as soon as you possibly can. By the 7th of January, you will have seen it. If you've not, then that's your problem. That's not my problem. Now, I want to give a warning here for a second, because if you're like me, trying to avoid as much of the TV spots as you possibly can, because there are little spoilers in those TV spots that I really don't want to know, and I've seen too much already from TV spots, which I hate. So if you're like me and you don't want to know anything else than the trailers that you've seen, and you just want to stay away from the TV spots and go in blind, then you might want to click right here to skip ahead for a little bit, because I need to talk about something. This is kind of a big thing, so really skip ahead if you have not seen one of the more recent TV spots that revealed something really big. Okay, you're ready? You've skipped ahead if you haven't seen it. So, the ghost is in Rogue One! Oh my god, I cannot believe that they showed it in a fucking TV spot. I cannot believe that I was spoiled with that. I consider this a spoiler. I really do consider this a spoiler. This is bullshit. I do not want to know the ghost is in Rogue One before I see Rogue One. I will see the ghost in Rogue One. Believe me, whenever it shows up, even if it's like 2 seconds, I will recognize the ghost. And I would have loved to be in a theater like, oh my god, it's the ghost, it's the Rebels crew, it's awesome. Now I know it's in there. And that really sucks. That really sucks. I really hate that I saw that, because I was a little bit too active in the Star Wars fan group that I'm a part of. That's my fault. So I've turned off notifications of that group. I'm not going too much on the internet anymore. Actually, after today, I'm going dark from all the social media. I will review Canon later on, but I am going to stay away as much as I possibly can until Rogue One comes out, because these kind of things, I don't want to know this before the movie comes out. I want to see it in the movie. I want to see Harrison. Oh shit. Harrison Dula might be in Rogue One. Oh my god! Oh my god! Hera! Oh, I should stop thinking about this now, otherwise I might faint again. Anyway, where was I? Oh, well, with the part that I talk about the next episode. I'm going on a Rogue One. I'm sorry that I was a bit distracted. Stay on target! Anyway, next episode. I've seen this on the Wikipedia page that so far has been completely accurate with the upcoming episode. So I trust my source in this case, in that the next episode will air on January 7th, and it's called Ghosts of Geonosis. after reading a certain little book called Catalyst, I really am looking forward to that episode. Something happened in this episode this week. At the very beginning, Hera went off in the ghosts somewhere. Might be to Geonosis, might tie into the next episode. Another great thing about the next episode, at least this is what I saw, is it is going to be a two-parter. 45 minutes. Okay, so my complaints about it not being long enough will not factor into that one. I am so looking forward to that, especially because, like, yeah, you should know that Geonosis is a big part in the construction of the Death Star. And from then on, I think that we are really going to tie things into Rogue One, because Rogue One will have come out. We will have seen Rogue One. We will know the things that happen in Rogue One, and we know where Rebels is going from that point on, because we know the Ghost is in Rogue One. So, should be really cool. Okay, so from now on, you missed everything that I talked about in the TV spot. I did my speculation and talking about the next episode. If you wanted that, it's too bad, because there seriously are some spoilers. Now that's really all I can say about this week's episode of Rebels, and now I wonder, what did you think of it? Did you love it as much as I did, or did you have some major issues with it? Please, whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. Also, make sure you check out my next review, my last review before Rogue One for Canon First Blood, the second trade of the Canon comic. I already reviewed the first trade, the last Padawan, it's up on my channel, and I already ordered everything that I reviewed in order of where it is in the timeline. Like, you start at the bottom with the Phantom Menace, and when it goes up, you go through the timeline of everything in Star Wars. So if you're wondering where everything fits in, I explain it in every video, and it's also in that playlist. If you have any other questions about the Star Wars timeline in terms of canon, you can leave a comment or a tweet at me, because I read my comments, I read my tweets, and I know most of the things about canon. Now, before I end this video, I said I had a special announcement, so here is the special announcement. Yesterday, a couple of guys, including me, recorded a Star Wars trivia match, and it was against the guy who I reviewed Star Wars Rebels Season 1 and 2 with, Matt Kearns, because he knows his Star Wars, I know my Star Wars, and we were like, okay, we need to have a trivia battle and see who's best. I will not spoil anything about the match yet. I will just say that it will drop today somewhere. I'm not really sure, because I'm not in charge of posting it. But when it gets posted on YouTube, I will tweet it out. So be sure to follow my Twitter today for that match, because believe me, the match was really good. It was insane. I cannot believe that I was in such a great match. So look out for that. And as always, if you've liked my review and you want to see more of my movie, trailer, and Star Wars reviews, click right here.